Suppose there was a particular sound that combines the elements of British hard rock with harmonized vocals and a touch of jungle guitars. Well, this is what you come up with. With its sounds that was influenced from the Beatles, The Who, and the Byrds, which helped maintain and capture the essence that has become this overlooked style that had made an impact on subgenres in the 70s and 80s, such as jangle pop and alternative. Ranging from such influential artists such as Badfinger to Big Star to R.E.M., which has collectively inspired the 90s generation of rock and roll musicians, onward, the style of power pop lives on within the boundaries of the underground scene. What is power pop, and how has it started off as a niche and ended up becoming a staple in rock and roll today? Let's get right into it. Well, what is power pop? According to music publisher AllMusic, power pop is described as the hard rock sound of The Who, the sweet melodicism of the Beatles and Beach Boys, and the jangling guitar sounds of the Byrds. Rolling Stone Encyclopedia Rock states, British invasion sound, mods, Beatles, and jangling guitars, immaculate vocal harmonies, and a general air for teenage innocence. Music publisher AV Club states, power pop was like bubblegum pop with balls, but as with late 60s bubblegum craze, power pop quickly became the chosen genre for workmen-like musicians with sheaves and simplistic lyrics about cars and girls, and a storehouse of melodies so sweet that it could give Willy Wonka a bellyache. It started back in the late 1960s with the rise of the British invasion coming into the United States. The world has been inspired from such giants as the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and The Who. With that influence on help creating the sounds of bubblegum pop in the US, it has played a primary role in the development of power pop music. Where the name came from stems from an Enemy interview of Pete Townshend's Pictures of Lily on May 20th, 1967. Writer and interviewer Keith Altman were trying to decipher the song lyrics as pornographic. In the article, Pete Townshend describes its sound concept from Pictures of Lily, saying, "Power pop is what we play, what the Small Faces used to play, and the kind of pop the Beach Boys played in the days of fun, which I prefer." Going into the early 70s, there were groups such as Badfinger, the Raspberries, and the mighty influential group from Nashville named Big Star. With tracks such as Day After Day, Day After Day, Go All The Way, and Industry. As examples that will soon evolve into blending other styles such as jangle pop, indie rock, and alternative rock. Especially on one example from a group that had made a fusion of psychedelic rock, garage rock, and power pop named the Flaming Groovies, coming from their fourth album from 1976 titled Shake Some Action. Also who came along that had merged punk rock with power pop was a musician named Elvis Costello. Along with his producer Nick Lowe, who had used more of a direct power pop approach on his 1979 single titled Cruel to Be Kind. You gotta be cruel to be kind in the right measure. At the tail end of the 70s came along with acts such as Cheap Trick, Mommy's alright, Daddy's alright, they just seem a little weird, and The Knack, which their debut album came to a huge success with their hit track, My Sharona. The 80s had played a role in carrying the power pop sound throughout the underground music scene. Such acts as Phil Seymour, 2020, and Marshall Crenshaw that had a hit in 1982 titled Someday, Some Way. Someday, some way, yeah now. Someday, some way, maybe I'll understand you. Punk music has helped play a role with power pop with such groups as The Nils, Husker Du, and a group named The Replacements, which they were inspired by legends Big Star and Badfinger. With combining sounds of post-punk and power pop elements had helped create this album from 1984 titled Let It Be. Also a band that was inspired by Big Star happened to be this musician by the name of Mike Mills that started a college rock band back in 1980 titled R.E.M. rolling into the 90s, where it became prominent for bands to be inspired by the Big Star sound, with Geffen Records playing a huge role in signing these bands into a mainstream audience. Artists such as The Posies, Weezer, Lemonheads, Jimmy Eat World, and a Canadian group from Halifax, Nova Scotia named Sloan helped climb up to success on the radio waves, movies, and television. Following into the new millennium, where it has continued on into the underground scene, where more popular names such as the New Pornographers, the All-American Rejects, Fountains of Wayne, and the Raconteurs reign in the eyes of many listeners in the mainstream platform. To sum up on power pop and its sound throughout the 4 decades of music, it was more of a small niche that had started from the 60s to making its way into the alternative scene. With all of this being said, who knows where power pop is going to lead into next into the future. As long as we're together, I don't see what's wrong with that. As long as we're together, I don't see what's wrong with that. Well, I don't think I'll be bitter. Hey, you must not know yourself very well. You will be silent for a few